Horoscope, astrological forecast for February 2026 for representatives of the Capricorn zodiac sign. February 2026 is one of the key months of the year. Here, the first eclipse of 2026 occurs, an eclipse that both provides new trends, gives a new direction to our thoughts and actions, and brings echoes of events, situations from 2017 and 2018. Here, throughout this month, a historical astrological event also takes place, which is the starting point of the so-called new times. The Big Mercury Loop, which only begins throughout February and will pass in your third house of the horoscope, will help you focus on the most important task for you at this period of time. It will help you cut off everything unnecessary and unimportant and immerse yourself in the most promising project for you. Relationships with your surroundings are also an important theme of February for you. Here, some not very pleasant facts from the past may be revealed, may surface. Nevertheless, now is not the time to stir up that very past. It is simply worth drawing conclusions and maintaining distance. There will be several special days this month when we can literally come into contact with the future, when either through external information or through internal spontaneous thoughts and ideas, we receive hints about the future, about what is to come. These special days are February 12th, 18th, and 27th. At the very beginning of this month, a long-standing financial issue will be resolved. This will bring a feeling of relief, certainty, and also a sense of fulfilled duty, fulfilled financial obligations. There will also be several bright astrological aspects this month that bring luck in affairs, luck in public, intermediary activities, and also pride in the successes of your children. Throughout the month, your financial sector, the sector of your personal income and resources, will still be very active. Here will be located not only the planet Mars, the planet of energy and strength, but also in this sector, the first eclipse of 2026 will occur. Therefore, the theme of increasing your income level, the theme of searching for new sources of profit, the theme of increasing your resourcefulness and efficiency, all these are important directions of this month. Also, an important event of February is the repeated and final transition of the planet Saturn into the space of your fourth house of the horoscope, which gives an increased level of responsibility in matters related to family themes and themes of real estate and place of residence. Let's discuss the most important astrological events of the month and their influence on your sign step by step in more detail. On February 1st, a bright and ambitious full moon occurs in the space of the sign of Leo in your 8th house of the horoscope, in the sector that symbolizes shared and joint finances and resources, symbolizes your mutual settlements with other people, organizations, and the state. And since the full moon is a moment of completion, culmination, this full moon closes some topic or gives clarity on an issue that could have originated back in late July 2025, back when the new moon was occurring in this same sector. The full moon in the 8th house provides clarity on questions related to the following themes. This is financial reporting, profit distribution, distribution of the common shared budget with family. These are questions related to your financial obligations or obligations towards you. These are questions of acquiring an insurance policy, resolving some nuances related to taxes or alimony. These are questions related to your mutual settlements with other people or organizations. For example, at this time you may complete a loan payment or close a mortgage or fulfill your financial obligations to some organization. Also, at this time, you may make a purchase with a prepayment. That is, not when we just came to the store and bought something, but when we order something and make a prepayment. Also, since the 8th house symbolizes the income of our life partner, this is a time that will bring clarity on questions related to your partner's income level. On February 5th, the planet Mercury will be in a tense aspect, in a square, in relation to the planet Uranus. This is a tense day when there may be disruptions in the operation of familiar objects, things, disruptions in our schedule, in our timetable. This is a time when there may be interruptions in internet operation or in the operation of some familiar electrical appliances. This day may bring unplanned financial expenses. There may be an argument on a financial topic, and also throughout this day, it is necessary to avoid financial risks. On February 6th, the planet Mercury moves into the space of the sign of Pisces, into your third house of the horoscope. Mercury is a fast planet, but now in the sign of Pisces, it will be contained for a long time until April 16th. And about this big Mercury loop, I will make a detailed video, since there will be a number of traps here that need to be discussed separately and in detail. Mercury symbolizes our thoughts, words, calculations, short roads, trips. And Mercury will be located in the third house of your horoscope, in the house that itself symbolizes roads, information, documents, symbolizes our informational contact with the surrounding world. And this is a time when it will be easier for you to put your thoughts into words, easier to understand some information, voluminous information, easier to draw parallels and make correct conclusions. It will be easier to connect past events with the results of the present day. Connect all this into a single logical chain. A little later, namely at the end of February, Mercury in this same sector will turn into retrograde motion. Therefore, plans that you may develop in the period from February 6th to 26th, these plans will require adjustment, will require some small changes. Nevertheless, for you, these will be very useful plans. The transit of Mercury through the third house of your horoscope will bring you more communication. Communication of both a friendly nature and work-related communication. This increases information flows, and nevertheless, it shows that you will cope with all of this. And this transit is especially important for those who plan to update any documents, since Mercury in the third house shows that all issues will be resolved more easily. But more about this long transit of Mercury through the sign of Pisces and its influence on each of the zodiac signs, I will make a separate video. On February 8th, on this day, the planet Venus will be in a tense aspect, in a square, in relation to the planet Uranus. This is another tense aspect of the month. Here there may be arguments on financial topics. Financial decisions may be ineffective. This is a day of disadvantageous purchases or unsuccessful experiments. On this day, we may want what we actually do not need. Therefore, on this day, it is worth avoiding any experiments related to both the topic of finances and the topic of relationships or your own appearance. February 10th. On this day, the planet Mercury will be in a tense aspect, in a square, in relation to the black moon. This is an important point of the month that is worth paying attention to. On this day, a kind of black moon, tangled plot is initiated, which will not conclude throughout this day, but only begins and will develop and bring results right up until the end of March. That is, this is a day when some mistake or ambiguity, lack of clarity can create a whole knot of problems that we will solve at the end of March. Mercury is our thoughts, words, logic, calculations, documents, and the black moon distorts the functions of Mercury. Therefore, throughout this day, it is important to make sure that you have not created a point of information distortion, that you have correctly conveyed your thoughts or your decisions to your interlocutors, that you yourself have correctly understood the situation and the information that your interlocutors have provided to you. It is important to avoid any understatements, omissions, or vaguely and unclearly expressed thoughts. Mercury a little later, namely at the end of February, will turn into retrograde motion. Therefore, such an aspect of Mercury square black moon will be repeated. It will be repeated on March 16th and 28th. Therefore, now only the initiation of that situation is taking place, which will unfold in full in the middle and at the end of March of this year. And if some dispute, conflict, some misunderstanding arises now, then it will have a continuation at the end of March. Therefore, throughout this day, it is important to make sure that you have not created a point of information distortion, that you said exactly what you wanted to say, and that you were understood correctly. You need to make sure of this. Also, throughout this day, some facts from the past may surface, some information that you did not know about, and this may be related to your relationships with other people. Nevertheless, throughout this day, it is not worth stirring up the past. And on the same day, February 10th, the planet Venus moves into the space of the sign of Pisces, into your third house of the horoscope, and will be here until March 7th. Venus is a conductor of well-being into our world, well-being both material and emotional. The transit of Venus improves the space where it is located. The transit of Venus through the third house of your horoscope will bring pleasant meetings, advantageous purchases, advantageous investments, advantageous financial agreements. This is a time of pleasant trips, improved relations with surrounding people, a time of success in trade, in commercial activity, and in intermediary activity. Also, the third house symbolizes accessories, and Venus symbolizes everything beautiful, luxurious. Therefore, this is a time when you can acquire beautiful and useful accessories, whatever it may be. February 12th is an important point of the month. On this day, a conjunction of the planet Mercury with the North Karmic lunar node, the node of the future, occurs. This conjunction occurs in your third house of the horoscope. This is a day that, on the one hand, gives hints about what is to come, and on the other hand, our thoughts, words, or information flows shape our future, shape what is to come. Mercury is our thoughts, words, decisions, conclusions. And the North Karmic lunar node is the point of the future, the point of entry into a new space. The North Node symbolizes the vector of our path. Therefore, this is a day when, through external information that we receive, or through internal information that is born within us, in the form of spontaneous thoughts, ideas, decisions, all of this matters. Through this, we receive hints about what awaits us. And also on this day, our spontaneous thoughts or conversations with our circle of communication will bear results around the end of August 2026. Therefore, this is a very good day for planning what you intend to accomplish at the end of summer. What exactly could this be, considering that all of this is happening in your third house of the horoscope? This could be planning the development of your own business, the development of some new directions in your affairs, since the third house is the house of our roads. Roads both literally and figuratively. Here it is very favorable to plan a trip, the start of studies, or the start of your own commercial activity. This is an excellent day for planning the development of your intellectual creativity and also discussing joint plans. If your plans include purchasing a car, then this is a very good day to think about what kind of car you want to acquire. On February 14th, on this day, the planet Saturn, Lord of time, karma, responsibility, re-enters and now finally moves into the space of the sign of Aries, into your fourth house of the horoscope. And Saturn will linger here for a long time, until April 2028. Saturn is such a demanding and controlling energy. Saturn conducts an inspection of the house of the horoscope, the sphere of our life, through which it transits. And for you, this is the space of the fourth house. This is the sector that symbolizes our home, our possessions, our place of residence, and also family matters and intra-family relationships. Therefore, here the level of responsibility increases in all these questions. More about what exactly this transit of Saturn will bring to all of us and each of the zodiac signs separately. I will make a separate video on this in the near future. On February 16th, on this day, the planet Mercury will be in a favorable aspect in relation to the planet Jupiter. This is a very favorable aspect that shows luck in affairs, and this aspect will influence us plus or minus several days. This is a time of successful purchases, deals, agreements, successful meetings. And also, this is a time that will bring success in the affairs of your children. This also speaks of mutually beneficial affairs, processes with your partners or clients. This also shows success in public activity. On February 17th, on this day, the first eclipse of 2026 occurs. It occurs in the sign of Aquarius in your second house of the horoscope. This eclipse is the beginning of the year of the fire horse, the activation of the fiery energies of the year. There have been no eclipses in this sector for a long time, since 2018. Therefore, this eclipse, on the one hand, sets a new task before us, gives new emphases, new trends, and on the other hand, this eclipse is like an echo of events that took place in our affairs during the period from August 2017 to August 2018. Therefore, themes from those choices, decisions, or events that took place in your affairs during that period may become relevant again now. And now, the decisions we may make can be diametrically opposite to those we made then for you, for your sign. Since this eclipse occurs in the second house of the horoscope, the house that symbolizes our resources, our resourcefulness, this is the beginning of the reformatting and development of your budget. Here, the source of your income, the size of your income may change. The method by which you receive money may change. New financial goals will appear, and also new ways of storing and saving your resources. Also, new financial responsibility may appear here. The second house of our horoscope is the house of our resources and our efficiency. Therefore, a program of active growth, a program of expanding financial opportunities and strengthening your positions is activated for you. More about the essence of this eclipse and its influence on each of the zodiac signs, I will make a separate video. February 18th is another important point of the month. On this day, the planet Venus will be in conjunction with the North Karmic lunar node in your third house of the horoscope. Venus is a conductor of well-being into our world, well-being material and emotional. Venus symbolizes our desires, and the North Karmic lunar node is the point of the future. This is such a hot, insatiable energy that heats up the ambitions of Venus. Therefore, this is a day when a great many different desires may appear in us. Their conjunction occurs in the third house of your horoscope in a favorable aspect in relation to your sign. Therefore, your ideas, voiced on this day or thought out by you, will bear results, fruits already around July 11th, 2026. What exactly could all this be connected with? With your investments in your own future, in your own development, investments both emotional, mental, intellectual, and financial. On this day, it is favorable to invest resources in what has prospects. For example, it could be an investment in your own education, in attending some courses, in acquiring items necessary for the realization of your ideas. This is a day when an important meeting, an important conversation may take place. And if on this day you have such a conversation about the future with some woman close to you, then what you will talk about now will all become reality already in midsummer. On February 20th, on this day, a historical astrological event occurs. A conjunction of the planets Saturn and Neptune occurs in your fourth house of the horoscope. This is the beginning of the so-called new times. Saturn symbolizes external, conscious order, and Neptune symbolizes internal, unconscious order. And the moment of conjunction of these planets shows that a new world order is being born. Their conjunction occurs in your fourth house of the horoscope, in the sector that symbolizes our home, our place of residence, and also intra-family matters. Therefore, here an important decision or an important choice may be significant. More about the essence of this conjunction and its influence on each of the zodiac signs, I will make a separate video. February 22nd is another day of luck. On this day, the planet Venus will be in a favorable aspect in relation to the planet Jupiter. Both of these planets are such that grant well-being, success, prosperity, profit. This aspect will influence us plus or minus several days. What can it speak of? About an important meeting, about a successful publication, performance, about receiving profit, about concluding a deal advantageous for you, about a meeting with people important to you, and about agreements that will please you. Also, at this time, you may attend some interesting event. On February 26th, on this day, the planet Mercury turns into retrograde motion, which will last until March 21st. The turn of Mercury occurs in your third house of the horoscope, and this brings a certain retrospective to affairs. This is a time when we rethink something, reevaluate, when we correct mistakes, when we adjust our own plans. Here, your agreements with other people may be violated due to changed circumstances. This is a time when we can repair something or adjust some processes. What could this be, considering that Mercury will be retrograde in your third house of the horoscope? At this time, you may repeatedly go somewhere or travel to resolve an issue that you have already resolved once before. Now, circumstances in the affairs of your friends may change, and this may influence your plans. This is a time when you can be repairing some things or putting order on your desk, in your documents. You may obtain some certificates, retake exams, reapply to organizations you have already visited. You may re-meet with some people to discuss topics that once seemed closed, but now new circumstances may arise. This is a time to bring order to your information field. February 27th is a day when the most tense aspect of this month will influence us. On this day, the planet Mars, the source of strength, energy, and actions, will be in a tense aspect, in a square, in relation to the planet Uranus. This is a day when a conflict may arise. Some breakdown may occur that can disrupt our plans. On this day, we may show impatience in obtaining the result we expect. Also, here there may be unforeseen expenses. And on the same day, February 27th, the Sun will be in conjunction with the North Karmic lunar node. This is another day of February that brings us hints about our future. On this day, it is very favorable to make plans for the future, since the initiative shown by us on this day, even if it is a small and inconspicuous step, will bear generous fruits. This, from an astrological point of view, is what February 2026 will be like. I wish you a wonderful, successful month, dear Capricorns.